that he's not going to do an executive order on legalizing the illegals right now, which isn't even true. He's already outside of even an executive order, ordered the Border Patrol illegally to not stop these illegals and to let people get on buses and to pay to ship them into the country. And then the big faith-based initiatives are getting government money to house and get housing for the illegals as a magnet to bring unlimited numbers here. Our reporters were down in El Paso just 2 weeks ago at the Army base there. We have a lot of contacts there because Joe Biggs was stationed there for a time. And they got video of the gates at night to Mexico wide open. We have the video of that in El Paso. We're going to repost that to Infowars.com. We need a headline: border gates open in El Paso as Al-Qaeda threat looms. Now again, who funded Al-Qaeda? Who let them get a base in Iraq, a base in Syria? Who gave them the weapons? The West did. It came out in Senate hearings last year. The expansion of support stopped. But it's like having a pet rattlesnake that you hand feed mice to. You reach in there one day to feed it a baby mouse, it's going to bite you on the finger. And that's what's going on with IS and Al-Qaeda. Again, almost every terror attack is either provocateur, where they find a mentally ill person and wind them up to do it and then let them attack to get more funding and take liberties, or it's a criminal group directly funded by criminal elements in the government who are real jihadis but are protected and all the doors are open for them. That's one of the most common forms of attacks. That's what this is going to be. Or it's completely, totally staged, and they have patsies they set up, like Muhammad Atta and others, who we know were trained by the CIA and Defense Intelligence at the, well, the Sacramento Bee reported on it there at the War College training facility. The Defense Language School. And people blew the whistle that 5 of the supposed hijackers were really U.S. government agents. We don't know exactly what happened on 9/11. We just know there's a cover-up of what did. And the official story doesn't add up. And 9/11 was used to take our basic freedoms and transform this country into an oligarchical tyranny, a totalitarian Orwellian system that we're transforming to, that we're slouching into, that we're sliding into. Well, what does CNN and Fox News and MSNBC do? They come out and say, Alex Jones says that George Bush, with a detonator like Wile E. Coyote, blew up the towers. Alex Jones says the firefighters blew up the towers. Because it's the government and they're the government. I never said anything like that. I said there's clearly explosives in those towers. These people are being tracked. They were being protected. Why are we attacking Iraq when it's supposedly Saudi Arabia behind it? Look at the NORAD stand down. Look at the CIA drills of the towers being attacked that exact same day at that exact same time. Look at the 911 tapes, the air traffic tapes. Look at the police on video, live on CNN going, get back, they're going to bring down Building 7. You see that building? It's coming down. Then CNN would say, does Alex Jones think the police blew it up? No. There's video of cops going, get back. They're getting ready to bring it down. I was buying a pizza that day. I'd been on the air since it started as a guest on Genesis, did my own show, and then had a nighttime show I did then. I was on all day long, took a break at 4 o'clock. They blew it up at 5:25 Eastern, 4:25 Central. Drove to the pizza place to pick up the pizza and heard CBS News Radio, which isn't even on anymore, report Solomon Brothers, 47-story building. They're going to bring it down to controlled demolition so that it doesn't damage surrounding buildings. And I remember thinking, gee, how do you get bombs in a building that fast? It takes some weeks to rig those properly from what I've read. But lost in the fog, I just went back and did the radio show, and I remember saying, man, it looked like they blew that up the next day and blah, blah, blah. And then Since then, I remember saying, I saw it and heard it on the news, we have the news. We have BBC before it blew up saying it was going to collapse. And then saying it had collapsed when it hadn't collapsed yet. Not one BBC, not two BBCs, three BBCs. And then they came out and said, Mr. Jones is lying. That video's not real. There was such a backlash. People went and checked their archives. They said, we apologize. That was a mistake. Reuters fed us the script. Exactly. They jumped the gun. 2 hours before it was released that it was Lee Harvey Oswald, they got time zones off in Australia and in one other country. What was it? Indonesia. And they had in the front page, because back then they had afternoon editions of newspapers that came out. Newspapers in big cities came out every few hours. You might have had 20 editions, 10 different papers in New York at the time in 1963. And it famously came out Lee Harvey Oswald before they'd even grabbed him, or before his name had been released, right around the time they were getting him at the movie theater. So this stuff does come out, ladies and gentlemen. They do screw this up because the average person at the BBC is not part of it. They're just reading a teleprompter. But then We Are Change London went and talked to the BBC news reporter who was talking to the reporter on the ground in front of Building 7. And they went to him and they said, you reported that day. It had fallen before it did. He got this real weird look on his face. I've played it here. And he goes, no, I was going to the movies with my daughter that day. I didn't cover 9/11. He just smiled at him. And they went, yeah, we have the video clip right here on our laptop. He said, doesn't matter. I wasn't there. And he smiled and walked right through him and left after his speech. They went to a journalist forum. I forget his name. You can pull it up. He's the guy talking to her from England, and she's the British reporter on the ground. I think her name's Jane Stanley. And it's just red-handed cops saying, get back, they're blowing it up. And I even interviewed the cops that are on that video, 2 of them, and neither one would talk to me after I talked to them. They got so many threats. They said no, it was the Red Cross was in command, and they went ahead and told us, even though they were told not to tell us to get back, because they cared about the people a couple minutes before. And then we even heard the countdown on their radio, and we wondered why. See, the Red Cross, folks, is the Knights Templar, basically. It's the oldest continually operating intelligence agency for 500 years at least. The Red Cross has been operating. There it is. We Are Change UK, Phil Hayton and WTC7, if you want to see the video from 2008. It is bombshell. And then he's done a few interviews. Make sure that's the one where he denies it. Because I don't want to be the wrong one, but I'm sure that's it. He goes, no, I took my daughter to the movies that day, or my son. No, it was his daughter. I was not working on 9/11. Of course you would remember you were working on 9/11. He was on for like 10 hours that day. But this is how dumb they think we all are. This is how stupid they think you are. So now these people are about to hit us again with our border wide open. And Rick Perry, who certainly has his own fair share of problems, did quietly put the state police on alert to look for radicals and killers and people with criminal records on the border. He did deploy the National Guard down there, and we've now learned that Obama tried to block it. And he is working with a group of state senators and others that we've talked to off record who knew that this was basically coming 2 years ago and had a contingency plan ready. And the problem is that Obama won't even deport felons now. So they're filling up state facilities with these violent felons and embarrassing Obama as they're forced to release them. And so what's their answer? Just indict Rick Perry. In fact, we have an article I'm going to put up on screen here about Rick Perry. Rick Perry deletes truthful tweet concerning indictment witch hunt. I don't always drive drunk at 3 times the blood alcohol limit, even though she heads up the DWI task force, the state task force. But when I do, I indict Governor Rick Perry for calling me out on it. and I'm the most drunk Democrat in Texas. One of his people tweeted that out. I saw that like a week ago. And then Rick Perry apologized for it. Rosemary Limburg. So the governor is indicted for doing his job to veto $7.5 million of funding for the Public Integrity Office, the state office that she headed up. And it turned out he tried to get Democrats for months to put another Democrat in there and have her step down just out of the Public Integrity Office. She'd still be DA. And they said no. And why not? Because they know that if they can get away with having her in there while she's spitting and yelling and throwing fits and threatening the sheriff's deputies and acting crazy and throwing temper tantrums on the ground, kicking and screaming and looking like a piranha, they can do anything. If they can pass laws banning even the weakest hairdryers and tea kettles and wood-burning stoves, and they've already done this in Europe. Now it's coming to England. And it's already come to San Francisco. They can do anything. You want to have GMO crops, glyphosate in the water supply? Fine. Look at this political correctness. Then I'll get to this report and give the number out. The toll-free number to join us is 800-259-9231. Hadn't given it out yet. The phones are now open. First-time callers, 800-259-9231. I want to cover any of these points I've thrown out. I want your take on it. How fear of being seen as racist stops social workers saving up to 1,400 children from sexual exploitation at the hands of Asian men in just one town. Turns out it's an entire network of taking the kids all over the country, out of the country, in savage gang rape rooms. 11-year-old girls and boys. But because they were Pakistani, it was politically incorrect. Well, it's more than that. The British government's full of this stuff as well. And that's all over the British news the last week. But it's not real political correctness. It's that they're setting the precedent. Well, I'm sorry, they're gang raping 11-year-olds. We can't do anything because they're Asian. We're sorry, we can't have anything on the border because it'd be racist. We have to give you everything free because you're Hispanic. They're not going to give you anything free when they're done taking over, folks. This is just mindlessness of be socially nice, do what we say. Or we'll call you racist. You got to call them on the bluff and say, call me racist. Fine, go ahead. I don't care. You are a race pimp, race hustling fraud. I mean, Saudi Arabians for at least 5 years don't get groped, don't have to take their turbans off, their women don't have to take their headdresses off, their burqas. But because of lawsuits and stuff, they're not supposed to grope under 12-year-olds. They still try to grab my kids when I fly. I've now flown some with them. They've flown some. And it's just like, oh, no, we're putting them through. And it's like, no, you're not supposed to. Send them over there. And they're like, 6 TSA run over. What's your problem? I'm like, my problem is you guys aren't supposed to do this. And then I'm very calm and get their manager over there. But it's just a joke. You want to check baby diapers, but illegals get to fly with no ID. The Saudi Arabians get to go through. It's a joke. We're a joke. The government and the criminal elites laugh at us. They are indicting Republican governors all over the country. They're indicting people for filmmakers, you name it. And it's not that the Republicans are even good. The Democrats are getting rid of their competition. One ring to rule them all, in the darkness bind them. They are going after anybody that doesn't toe the line with exactly what they want. They're going for broke. And we have a clip of Joe Biden screaming, it's time to take America back. Again, if you use the term, it's time to take America back, the Democrats had said, that's racist. Why, you mean take it back from us socialists as you mean from the minorities, because they formed it into a minority movement as a majority that we're going to get whitey. And so then people say, take America back for the Second Amendment. Oh, you mean you don't like black people. Biden uses take back America phrase Obama and Holder think is racist. Let's play that clip.
It's time to take back America, as was said. It's time to change the tax code. It's time to make sure you get an equal share. Because, ladies and gentlemen, If we don't, America's in trouble. And we've always done best when we act as one America, everybody in the deal.
So while they passed Obamacare with 7 taxes on blue-collar workers, 20-plus total taxes, I told you it was a tax. It was ruled as a tax. While, it just makes me, because I know what they've done tax-wise with the Republicans, and they've increased taxes in this country. And they've got all these other taxes and regulations. And so he goes back to Roosevelt, chicken in every pot, fair share. Hey, the contract's not, broken. We're going to give you the good deal. America's in trouble. I thought America was great, Joe. Obama says it's wonderful. Even though Hagel, the Secretary of Defense, says we're in a global meltdown, which we are. The globalists think they're like Slim Pickens, Dr. Strangelove riding the hydrogen bomb down like a bucking bronco, and you're not. You people are smoking your own dope, believing your own propaganda. You're out of control. And I'm going to make sure that if, God forbid, Al-Qaeda blows up some college or some school or some military base in the next week or two, I'm going to make sure, and we're going to make sure, that everybody knows you're behind it opening up those borders and that you're behind it funding ISIS overseas. I am sick of it. And I am not going to sit here and have my children's future ruined and my freedoms taken by you pack of crazy people. Let me tell you something. I've studied politics. I've studied world history. And it didn't matter if it was some of the Roman Caesars or Napoleon or Hitler or Pol Pot. They go crazy. It's criminology. They want to get caught. They want to get in trouble. They do more and more and more and more and more and more. Alex Jones here with a message to fellow freedom lovers. The prognosis for the entire planetary economic system runs from bad to worse. The globalist model is to shut down societies and starve patriots out until they acquiesce to the global takeover. That's why we've assembled the most vital and important preparedness items at InfoWarsShop.com. These are items that I did research on, that I personally use. We've got the Life Straw, so you can turn fetid water into safe water anywhere you go. The K-Tor hand crank generator to charge up key equipment during power outages or out in the field. Strategic Relocation, 3rd edition by Joel Skousen. When Disaster Strikes by Matthew Stein. ThyroSafe, used by Homeland Security to protect yourself during any radiological event. Hand crank shortwave AM/FM radios. Everything that we've researched and found to be the best is available at InfoWarsShop.com, and your purchase makes our InfoWar possible. We're getting prepared. Are you? InfoWarsShop.com. Land grab, local officials blast move by Obama to set aside 500,000 acres in New Mexico. Even police aren't allowed to go in. No one is allowed to go into the, quote, monument. See, this is all UN stuff. We warned you about back when I made that film in '97, America Destroyed by Design, that the plan was, as the feds grab more land, to make it totally off limits to everybody, even hiking. And now they've done that. And, of course, it's an illegal alien corridor they're using. I mean, it's just the sky's the limit. I mean, they get away with anything. Why not? Okay, let's go to Sarah and then Walt and others. Sarah, thanks for calling in today. So much is going on. The world's being destabilized. What's your take on it?
Hi, Alex. I can't believe I'm talking to you. I've been listening for 6+ years, and this is the first time I've ever gotten through calling. I think as a 23-year-old young lady, I can look at society, and when I first started listening, I took a look at the bank bailout and was like, wow, this is not right. Even at 17, I realized this isn't the right way. So I started listening and started looking stuff up and really became aware of what's going on around me. I feel like most people, especially in rural communities, know exactly what's happening to them. So really, I called to ask you a question: is what can we do as communities, as people that are so friendly with each other on things like Facebook and Twitter, where you fake know people, but you don't actually talk to them. You don't exchange real ideas. You just say one-liners that get you by as far as societal points go, get high fives for saying the right.
You're right. It's all simulated fake social stuff that doesn't even help you or your family or them. That's why you want real meaningful relationships. You want to buy local. You want to realize our culture of just basic freedom is under attack, that all race, colors, and creeds should unite around private property, not being surveilled, having due process, basic prosperity. And you point out the globalists are the enemies. They're the ones occupying the country. Expose the occupation, expose the global government plan, expose that things are about to get a lot worse because the New World Order is behind it. They're going to try to pose as saviors as the next phase of their operation comes in. Realize the Homeland Security, Department of Defense run Rural Affairs Commission is meant to bankrupt and then take control in the bankruptcy of all rural areas. Realize they're taking land and property right use everywhere. I realize that we've all got to buck the system, say no to stuff that's unconstitutional, while backing local officials and public servants that do stand for the Bill of Rights and Constitution. Not the government's perfect, or even they're perfect, but if somebody's promoting basic freedom, isn't a criminal, back them. If somebody's a crook, go after them. Get aggressive. Don't comply. Stand up for yourself. Become Americans. Discover the liberty culture again. And these tyrants will vanish like vampires at dawn, to paraphrase Thomas Jefferson. A lady was just asking me, how do we defeat this system? You buck everything they're doing that's centralized. Michelle Obama, the federal government, want to run a scam with stuff not fit for prisoners to eat with our children. From Illinois to North Carolina, from Texas to California, the school districts are just ending the school lunch program, period, realizing it's a total controlled paradigm. In school district, Illinois school district looks to dump Michelle O's lunch program. Program causes massive drop in lunch sales, people packaging and bringing their own food. Their answer, the Democrats, is don't let people pack their children's lunches. It's just total prison economy. Live in a big re-education camp run by these criminals while they fly around on jumbo jets and are on red carpets. I can't even look at that snapping turtle woman anymore. Let's talk to Walt in New York. Thanks for calling, Walt.
Hey, Alex, how you doing?
Good, brother. Thanks for calling.
Alex, I'm going to bring up a subject here that's tied in with everything you're talking about, a broad range of subjects, and I hope you see how it ties in. Obama is about to sign an executive order that will take the wolf off of the endangered species list, and they're going to have a hunt in Idaho where they're going to basically exterminate the wolves. They're going to kill 80 to 90% of them. They may not ever recover. And this is all done, you know, while people are distracted with other things. Where are people's basic heart? What happened to people's love, their basic
Well, that's
humanity?
being done as a stunt to act like Hillary's saying she's pro-gun now and doesn't like Obama. It's getting her position to run, and she'll act like Sarah Palin. And I mean, at the same time, I do understand. I mean, I like canine familiarists. I'm a big dog lover. There are areas where the wolves have become overpopulated again. I really don't know the details to be able to properly speak to that. I was not aware that Obama was even set to sign that executive order.
Well, you know, this is something that is going under the radar because there's so many things going on at one time. And the basic tactic seems to be to get people distracted with one thing and then do something else. And people just can't keep up. But if people would attend to their basic humanity and just their basic gut-level feelings, you know, it says live and let live. It says do unto others as you would have them do unto you. These basic truths will serve us. And since we as a civilization have given up these basic truths, we're just drifting into God knows what. I mean, the whole 20th century is a story of how the Christian ethic, regardless of whatever your true actual religion is, how the Christian ethic has been just thrown in the garbage.
It's certainly true that fraud and corruption is up, that people are becoming more and more decadent, more and more fly-by-night. And that's pretty much a symptom of our prosperity. But now we're living on borrowed time. That's how it always ends up. So I'm really worried once the bottom falls out how all these spoiled, rotten people are going to behave. I appreciate your call, Walt. And I'm on no high horse. I'm pretty decadent and spoiled compared to the work ethic of my ancestors. So I tell you, it's a fascinating world. Blake in Oklahoma, you're on the air. Thanks for holding.
Thank you for having me, Alex.
Go ahead.
I'm a first-time caller. I'm from Oklahoma, so I'm just right here north. And it is very frightening to see everything unfolding just one state north of you. I was doing a delivery job for a while, and every hotel I went to, there were Mexican families with Mexican children, every single one. And they all were in the U-Haul trucks and the Ryder trucks, and so you could just tell that they were from what you were talking about.
There is a total exodus. I mean, if you're at a Home Depot or a McDonald's parking lot by a gas station or on the hike and bike trail, there's just literally just like vagabonds, actual migrating hordes out of Central and South America, not even Mexico, with Mexican or Guatemalan plates, and the border's wide open when ISIS is supposedly about to hit us any minute. And again, the TSA sticks their hands down our pants. Our reporters are about to be in the air from Austin down to El Paso, where the border is still, we've confirmed from our military sources, wide open, with ISIS saying that they're going to attack and Homeland Security saying it is imminent attack. Now, we saw lots of fake terror alerts and stuff like that before. ISIS is a real group being funded and protected. But regardless, when they attack, they were funded and protected to attack Syria and other countries in a proxy war against Russia in the last 4 years. That's now been confirmed. Senator Ted Cruz has gone public. Rand Paul went public and stopped it a year ago, along with the general public. Now they're back, and we have polls out today out of Gallup and others showing a majority wanting strikes in Syria and Iraq because of ISIS, the very group protected by the West, the very groups they've been using in Chechnya and other areas to attack Russian interests. And I'm no Russian file. Never been to Russia, but I've studied it. And Russia is not in an offensive posture starting things right now.
City of Austin tap water versus filtered City of Austin tap water.
I can taste dirt in it.
God knows what's in this.
This has an aftertaste.
Tastes like Austin water? Yeah, it does. Ugh.
These people just sampled City of Austin tap water straight from the faucet. Next, we had them try a sample of tap water filtered through the ProPure G2.0 filtration system.
High quality H2O.
That one is better.
Tastes like nothing.
Yep, I know what good water tastes like. It's good water.
Most tap water contains added substances like fluoride, chlorine, Monsanto's deadly pesticide, glyphosate, and many others. Studies prove that these substances are linked to an assortment of major health issues, including tooth decay, lowered IQ, and even cancer.
It tastes like you're drinking out of the lake when you're drinking tap water.
Yeah, it has that processed flavor to it.
The ProPure G2.0 filtration system removes these deadly substances and many more, leaving only fresh-tasting, deliciously clean water.
Okay, this is very tasty.
It's good water.
Refreshing.
It's good.
Go to InfoWarsStore.com today. Use promo code WATER and save 10% off your ProPure purchase. Again, that's InfoWarsStore.com or call 1-888-253-3139.